And now, AHA fans, in response to hundreds of requests, here's my behind-the-scenes report on what the lads get up to when they're not touring, making videos. Here's how Hunting High and Low was filmed. This wasn't a desert island, just an ordinary film studio in West London.
Less waves. Henry.
But all kinds of tricks were used to create the tropics.
Okay, so gentlemen.
With only 2 days for filming, all the technical preparations had to be perfect. Especially bright lighting was called for, and while the lighting men were hard at it, the cameraman was lining up his shots.
I'm going to run a line, get an equal distance there.
There was a wind machine for special effects, and as the first scene was being prepared, I met the group. Okay, how did you all meet?
Magna and I were neighbors from we were 3 years old or something, and by accident we met Morten.
We knew about each other somehow, you know. We didn't know what. I mean, I don't think they knew that I was going to be singing. You know, it was rather finding somebody who had the same conviction or who wanted to do, you know, wanted to leave everything behind and then go for something.
Who writes the songs?
I wrote this one, but it's different from each song.
Do you write together?
Sometimes.
Not really. Not
Try
much.
not to. I guess it's Magna and I who write most of the songs.
Well.
You've known each other for ages.
That's why we don't write together.
You write in separate rooms.
Good.
Do you always immediately like the songs that the others have written, or does it take a fair amount of persuasion to get you to do them?
You can't persuade somebody to like a song. I mean, not like that.
No, but to do them, you can.
You may have to listen to
it all the time.
You may have to listen to it a couple of times, but you recognise something that's good.
Is there a bit of competition then?
A bit.
Just a bit.
You may not see the glass door here, but.
As with any video, a storyboard of little cartoon drawings was the first stage. The pictures had to be followed closely for this complicated video, which involved drawings and live action. And the video began with Morten in a snowy Norwegian landscape.
And within the reach of my hand, she's sound asleep. And she's sweeter now than the wildest dream could have seen her. And I watch her slipping away, but I know I'll be hunting high.
The icy and romantic setting looked just like the Arctic, even though it was in the studio.
Right, here we go, gents.
By means of the old television trick of colour separation overlay, the background could be keyed in, so depending on the pictures they chose, Morten could seem to be walking anywhere.
One more, please. Closer.
The finishing touches were put in at the video editing stage with the director, Steve Barron, who made AHA's first video, Take On Me. What are you doing?
We're putting the shot of Morten shot in the studio, which is a black silhouette on a white background, putting it onto a snowscape. It is a piece of library footage. What we need to do to make it look convincing is put a shadow on Morten, because there would naturally be a shadow if he was really there. He'd have a shadow that would come towards camera, and it would lay flat on the ground and stretch in perspective and move towards us. Over that shoulder. Mountains over there.
Oh,
Here,
it's that
on the
type of
horizon. Now, mountains horizon, and you walk into the shot. Okay, as you move in, yeah, just take one step back, and as you move in.
It takes a lot of time to make this kind of filming look convincing, and Steve gave Morten explicit instructions. This bit was complicated enough, but any second now, Morten was going to turn into an eagle.
You go into the...
Steve explained how that particular miracle was achieved.
Actually hand-drawn, frame by frame, like in the Disney method, but we're using an electronic computer paintbox machine, computer controlled, and we're able to line up both images of the image of Morten and the image of the eagle taking off, and to build it progressively the stages of how his wings grow out of his arms, out of his jacket, and how the legs disappear from him, so that it all becomes one smooth transition.
Koselig med norske venner fra Norge. Story of the video. Well, basically, to cut it short, yeah, all I know is that Steve Barron came up with this brilliant script, really, for Hunting High and Low. Basically, in order to conquer a mountain or to climb a mountain, you become, or I become an eagle. And in order to conquer the sea, the ocean, I become a shark.
And how did Morton become a shark? The storyboard had him diving off a high cliff into the sea. And to achieve this, a stuntman was brought into the studio diving onto a mattress. During his magical dive, Morton sprouted fins through computerized graphics, and he even ended up with a shark's tail. To complete the scene, Morton jumped onto the mattress himself, so it looked as if he'd made the dive. The shark was another piece of old film, but they also used a dummy shark made out of rubber. The underwater sequence was shot in a tank in the studio with frogmen, special lighting effects and an underwater camera. In this scene, the shark was speared. It all had to look very realistic.
Spear.
Spear. Yeah, just use a broomstick or something.
Well, he's got
As long as we don't damage this thing with it.
Yeah.
The position of the shark had to be exact if it was going to match the old film.
Lower the shark, please, yeah?
Lower the shark. Lower the shark and the spear. Try the shark that way.
Camera's running, right. And action!
It looked comical in the studio, but it worked in the video.